Auburn storms back in the final seconds of regulation, has a lead in overtime, can't hold on to it.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Darrell, Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us. The game is now over. In overtime, Auburn falls to Georgia 104-100, and a game where Auburn should have won this game in regulation. Two, should have been able to hold on to it in overtime. Yes, you didn't have to hot Pettiford. You still had several moments, Darrell, to extend that lead, make free throws. And yes, some of the calls were a joke. Some of the no calls were a joke, but still, without that, Auburn still had plenty of chances to win this basketball game.
This is one that's going to really stick in their craw that they'll feel like let slip away. I'm still not believing that Georgia's a really good basketball team. Some people have said they are. They haven't had a quad one win. Auburn had this game for the taking. They will look at this, Zach, and it's pretty apparent. It's self-inflicting stuff, okay? It's unforced errors. First of all, again, stop me if you've heard this before. They missed 12 free throws, okay? If you are able to hit 2 or 3 more in regulation and just get over 70%, you win that game. They missed – you had a stat at one point where Auburn was 12 of 26 on layups. I don't know how that finished, but that is abysmal.
16 of 33 is what it ended up.
That's pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. A high school team could make more layups than that. And, you know, I don't know how you coach that or coach that out of somebody, but you can't go 16 of 30. You out-rebounded Georgia. I get it. Georgia had a better field goal percentage than you because you missed 17 bunnies, okay? You missed 12 free throws. You absolutely allowed that team to you should have stepped on their throat, won that game. Self-inflicted stuff is the reason why Auburn lost that game, period. I don't care what Wilkinson did, you know, all that other stuff. Now, here's another self-inflicted thing. In overtime, Auburn gave up too many second chance points and too many offensive rebounds. They could not corral the ball on missed free throws. Freeman's or whoever's Hall's turnover up 4 kills you. You have an opportunity to go up 6 or 7. You turn it over. Freeman misses one of the free throws. Georgia comes down, hits a 3. They're now down 1. Ball game. Self-inflicted. Not getting rebounds in overtime. Turning the ball over at inopportune times. Missing 12 free throws and missing 17 layups is why you lost the basketball game. And I get it. There was some – I mean, they swallowed their whistles in overtime. Auburn – on those so-called blocks, got killed, got mauled. They called one on Auburn at the top of the key that I felt like was very, very crucial, a 4-point swing towards the end of regulation where he picked a Georgia guy's pocket clean. They called a foul. It was a horrible call. Auburn would have been breaking the other way on that. So, yeah, I get that. But despite all that, self-inflicted garbage that you should have cleaned up.
And I think lack of a plan at times was what was frustrating to me too. I mean, when you saw some of the possessions in overtime and some of the possession, I mean, it seemed like Auburn was down like 3 points and the score didn't change for like 10 minutes in the fourth quarter is what it seemed like. And there was like no plan or direction. Instead, when you look at the first 15 minutes of the first half, you saw what I would call a plan, especially on the offensive side of the floor with different guys, you know, getting ISO and you're moving the ball and you're seeing different guys attack the basket. You're not relying on just throwing it up from 3 late in the shot clock. It looked like an offense. And then over the course of the game, that went away, Darrell. And that to me is what's frustrating. It's like, okay, where did that go? And I just that's the stuff where, you know, all the folks that are saying, you know, the job's too big for Steven, that's the stuff where I'm like, okay, well, you had a plan. And then at the end of the game, it's, you know, one guy dribbling and there's nobody moving and they're just standing there watching. That drives me crazy. And then also just in a situation where, yes, Keyshawn Hall's the best scorer on the floor. I'm not pushing back on that. But when your last possession, how does Overton not touch the dang thing?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only reason you're there and in the game to begin with and got to extend it to overtime. Overtime, overturn. I feel like that would have been really cool if we pulled that off. I think Auburn fans would have ran with that. But all in all, that was just some of the decisions or lack thereof. That's what drove me the most. Yes, missed free throws are a big deal. Sadly, we've seen that already this year, right? Like we saw that with Houston. I feel like we saw that with another close loss. And I'm blanking on what that could have been because the other three were pretty lopsided. So maybe I'm misspeaking.
Yeah, there wasn't another close loss.
Yeah. Houston's really the only one. So I guess Houston's what we were talking about. But it's just this team, they don't seem to want to do the little things correct. And that does fall on coaching.
This is a frustrating loss because honestly, I mean, people that are Georgia fans and all that can say sounds like excuses.
This game could have meant so much.
Auburn gave the game away.
It could have meant so much.
Gave the game away.
Season-changing win if you could win today.
Yeah, you're on the road. You have a chance to do that. You gave the game away. And then when you talk about stagnant possessions, the standing around, the isolation stuff, one-on-one, too much dribbling, that's why Hall turns it over when Auburn's down 2 late in overtime because there was no ball movement. He tried to ISO. The Georgia defender steps right in front. It's an easy read. So I get the whole plan thing. I do. And but I don't know how you plan for your team missing 17 layups or 12 free throws. I don't know how you plan to go into overtime where the people that are playing really, really good for you, Pettiford and Jovic, make no mistake, 10 points, 10 rebounds. He fouls out. Georgia has one guy foul out, but no one really that key. Auburn's got to play down 2 guys when they already have a lack of depth. I mean, that's a problem, and that's an issue. And so, but, that speaks to recruiting and development. You should have gotten more guys, more depth on the front line. But Pettiford being an offensive option in overtime kills you, not being in the game. And so at the end of the day, look, Auburn has nobody but itself. Look in the mirror and realize that you turned it over in crucial times. You let offensive rebounds by Georgia occur during crucial times. You missed free throws in crucial times, and you missed layups. And you lost by 4 in overtime. I mean, come on, that should have been a double-digit win by Auburn.
I mean, you had everything going into overtime. I mean, you didn't have to hod, but you had everything as far as the momentum.
Yep.
I mean, you made the comment to me. I think you're okay if I share this, but man, like Georgia emotionally, that's got to be a big deal. I mean, imagine being on the side of that. You feel like it's won. You're up by 4 with 5 seconds left. We went live early because we thought the game was over. And that's when you storm back. And I mean, it's almost like giving up a 17-yard pass when it's 3rd and 16 and you're a defense. And it's like, gosh, I got to keep going. I got to stay on the field. And then Auburn takes the lead, Darrell. And it's like, okay, we're good. And then you just can't step on their throat. And Georgia's got a dude who can't walk. And you're leaving him open on the corner and he's making threes. It's just
that's the very underrated part. That's the underrated part of this game and what I would call a soft mentality. Okay. You had them absolutely reeling and crushed. You crushed their soul. And emotionally, I thought there's no way Georgia's going to be able to come into this overtime and win this game after how deflating that was. So then you take a 4-point lead in overtime, and it seems to be that's what's going to happen. And you let them off the deck by turning it over yourself and missing free throws. That is a soft mentality of not being able to close. No way, no freaking way should Georgia have been able to come out with any kind of momentum and any kind of grit or intensity in the overtime after the way they gave up that lead. No way. They should have been devastated. And Auburn is the reason that they let them have belief with what they did in overtime. And that's soft, and that needs to be addressed.
Yep. Soft mentally, physically. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do moving forward. This game was going to impact the rest of the season either way. I think this is bad. I don't want to be dramatic. I don't want to overreact to this, but I think this is a big deal for the rest of the season. We jump into that and what's next for Auburn in just a moment. Right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. I think the line was 4.5. So Auburn did cover. Was it not 4.5?
7.5 right before the game. Everyone was wondering why, and now we know it's because Taha didn't start.
Interesting. And I guess we'll learn more about that when Steven talks to the team. If somebody sees that in the chat with what Steven says about that, please point that out to us if that happens while we're live here. But FanDuel is the best place to wager on sports. Head over to FanDuel.com today. And if you took Auburn plus the points, you did win. Auburn did not win, but you won. FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Kia Autosport Columbus.com. You can browse their inventory online at Kia Autosport Columbus.com. Or, hey, go see them in person. Whittlesey Boulevard in Columbus, Georgia. Mention the show, mention Locked On Auburn. You'll save $500 off of a new Kia, which is insane. And people are doing it. Because we're getting messages about it, which is very, very exciting for everyone involved. And Darrell, you've touted this before, but tires for life with any new Kia purchase. Just ask your sales associate about that, which is insane. As we are dealing with a tire problem on one of our vehicles, you cannot state how big of a deal that is. Kia Autosport Columbus.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I don't know if you guys were watching the SEC network before the game tipped off, but they did a great job kind of showcasing how conference play is here and all of these awesome matchups were happening. And it's like, man, this is a loaded conference. And we knew that. But when you look at what Auburn was opening the season with, at Georgia, hosting A&M and Arkansas, at Missouri, hosting South Carolina, I think you had a chance to really set the tone with a road win on. I think all of these games are toss-ups. I think every single one of them is a toss-up at this point. Maybe not Arkansas, but at least you get them at home. But to me, this would have said so much to the fan base. I think a lot of the fan base is doubting this team. I'm sure you've got some doubt in the locker room. And to me, this would have been huge. And I think this would have been one of those ones where you're like, oh, okay, we can win a quote-unquote toss-up game on the road. I think that would have gone a long way. And now we're seeing the opposite effect of that. We're seeing all the folks that, have been talking about how bad this Auburn team is all season. And it's like, okay, you and I are in the same boat. Like, Georgia's ranked. I don't think Georgia's a great basketball team. I think they're solid. I think they're a tournament team. I don't think they're a great basketball team. And you just let them body you. And there's going to be a physicality issue with this team as it goes through SEC play. I think today kind of showed that.
Well, I mean, you think about it, Auburn only played one true road game until this game, and now they're 0-2. They lost some other games on neutral floors, Birmingham, Vegas, and Indianapolis. But the true road games in Tucson and in Athens, they've now lost. And this gives you belief. Like you said, oh, we can win on the road. We got some momentum against Texas A&M. Mike White has always given Auburn fits. Georgia in segment has all. I mean, again, I'll go back to the year they were ranked #1 and they had to win by 1 point. The year that they went to the Final Four and Chuma has to hit a 3 late to win the game. So they always play in segment tough. But this was a situation of what I would consider to be, again, a wasted opportunity. And you don't get them that often where you get a team and you have them on the ropes up 4 in overtime with the ball. You hit a shot there and go up 6. You never know how the completely mental composition of that game changes. And so Auburn couldn't close. They couldn't finish. And, is that a Steven problem? I mean, I don't know who else he could put out on the floor. You want somebody that is an absolute assassin that's going to close out games. Auburn has had that in the past. They have. They had it with Broom. They had it with Jabari. They had it with Chuma. They don't have – you think that it's Pettiford, but other than, I don't know, Oregon, some of his great games they've lost. You see what I'm saying? I mean, the games he's really played well. He didn't play that well against North Carolina State. He played really good against Arizona. He played really good against, I think, Michigan was the only he was the only one doing anything. They're not winning. They're not closing when he goes off, and that needs to happen. I have said all along, and I feel this way, that this team, the barometer of this team is going to be how Kevin Overton plays. When Overton, and they should have won this game, And Overton would have been a big part of the reason why. I mean, look how many points he had. Look at the shots he hit in the second half. Overton's the X factor. I need Freeman to do more against bigger opponents. I don't even know how many he ended up having, but it didn't seem like he had that big of an impact.
Freeman had 14 points.
Okay, that's
in
good.
23 minutes.
That's more impressive. I guess I'm thinking of down the stretch, the block shots, him getting blocked, missing free throws.
Yeah, I mean, some of the usage is interesting, especially when you were fouling out. Like the fact that the Hod fouled out and Magwood played 8 minutes is interesting. Sway played 42 minutes, didn't score. Jovic played 22 minutes. I mean, he might have been Auburn's most efficient player tonight with 10 points there. But it is a little interesting. And I mean, even Hall, who ended with 20, I feel like he had 10 with like 4 minutes left to go in regulation.
True. It might be time to sit Sway. You can't get 0 points from one of your starters. I'm sorry. I know he's a freshman, but that's unacceptable. You get anything
at that position. If he's a point guard and you're able to like create things, that's fine.
You get anything from him.
He's a big man. He's a big man who gets to the line, and he's not going to make the free throws.
I'd start Jovic against A&M. I think he's earned it. 10 points, 10 rebounds. He seems like he's the only one that really, really plays with high level intensity the whole time he's out there.
Definitely seems like he cares the most.
I'd start him at the 4 with a bigger lineup, Murphy at the 5, bring Freeman and Sway off the bench. Right now, the moment seems a little bit too big for Sway. Let's see if he can be a little more relaxed coming off the bench. Jovic's earned the right to start, period.
Aubinator saying our starting lineup should be Keyshawn, Pettiford, Freeman, Overton, Jovic.
Well, how do you not start? You
got to start Murphy.
You got to start Murphy. Yeah.
You got
Murphy played well. Murphy had 14 points, I think. So he actually played pretty good. It was a quiet 14, but he's big. And I'd go Jovic and Murphy down low. I would.
All right, let's run through Auburn's next 5 games. You host A&M. You host Arkansas. You go to Missouri. You host South Carolina. You go to Ole Miss.
The next 5?
Mm-hmm.
I see them going 3-2.
This is the first time I think I've ever done this.
Okay, you're going to say 2-3.
I think it's the first time I've ever predicted Auburn to have a losing record over the next 5 games.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2.
Auburn is 2-3.
Auburn's going to be a roller coaster this year, and they have not strung 2 bad games back to back yet. They haven't had 2 losses in a row, I think, back to back yet. So I suspect that they'll bounce back and win against A&M. It's going to be Jekyll and Hyde, right? The problem is you could have won this game and went to Missouri with a ton of confidence that you can win on the road. And, I'm not a believer of Georgia. I'm just not. There are other people that we know that are, and they've got no quad 1 wins. They had to go to overtime.
They do now, right?
Yeah, to be an unranked Auburn team who missed 17 layups and 12 free throws. And you had to win in overtime. The Georgia teams that suck did that.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a believer yet. We'll see as the season goes on. But that's one, man, you go back to Auburn on that bus ride and you're like, oh my God, did we let one slip away?
Let them sit in it. Let them sit in it. They should. I mean, this was a bad loss. Not as far as Georgia as an opponent. I think Georgia's solid. I don't think they're as good as some people think they are, but I think they're a solid basketball team and it's on the road. As far as just as a team, you gotta ask yourself the question, what do you want to achieve? Because if you want to achieve things that Auburn basketball has grown accustomed and used to achieving, you can't do that. You can't let that happen. In those situations, you were gifted, and sure, the guys executed, but a lot of luck's involved in scoring 4 points in the final 5 seconds.
And let me just say this.
What an opportunity you had. And you had a lead in overtime. You had it.
Yeah. Let me say this. If Samir Dowdy landed in the Virginia shooter space in the Final Four game, then freaking Blue Cane did as well on Overton. That should have been a foul too, and he hit the top of his hand. So, the refs aren't going to call that. Especially
I don't want to talk about the officiating. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with the officiating for sure, and to act like it didn't play a factor. I think it was bad both ways. I think the timing of when it was bad is interesting, but let's stay away from that. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Tomorrow night, do a little barn cast with a lot of probably transfer portal talk.
Yes.
And then Wednesdays and Fridays with you. And then I guess Auburn plays at 8 a.m. When is it at home Wednesday or is it Tuesday? I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me.
It is Tuesday.
Okay, I will be there covering that
at 8 p.m. We got a late one Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll be covering that late. We'll be going live around 10:05, hopefully with a big W.
Yep. All right. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.